took what I want, but you find that everything they've got, you step forwards to my shadow, you are follow in my pattern.
Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room, and today it is my great pleasure to have with me Nadia Ernestus, one of my heroes here in the Hamptons. I believe that you have probably saved hundreds of lives by now, Nadia.
Oh.
No, seriously, because I'm telling you, this fermentation thing that you do is amazing for healing anything that's wrong in your body. Almost anything.
I'm
truly.
blushing. I don't know if I saved lives, but I certainly help people feel better.
Did you save your own life?
Well, I made myself feel better.
Yeah. And when did you start Hampton Brine?
Hampton Brine, I started about a little bit more than 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing workshops in the community. That you remember how I started. I did workshops in the tennis club in East Hampton. And I did workshops on all kinds of subjects, health subjects, you know, how to cook well, how to feel well, and sugar and energy. I don't know if you remembered one was called 50 Shades of Kale. It was very popular.
You did a meditation with eyes open that I thought was so interesting.
We did the relaxation thing.
Yeah.
And then I saw that everything was about fermentation. You open a magazine, you open a newspaper, so much about probiotics and bacteria. And I said, okay, I know how to make sauerkraut, I know how to make kombucha. Let's have a workshop about that. And I did it in Hayground, and 3 times as many people show up. I'm like, I guess it's interesting.
Something's
Let's do
going
another
on.
one.
Something's
So I did
going on.
another one, and we did more, and how to ferment raw milk, and how to do honey ferments, had all sorts of fun stuff. And everybody was saying, you should be making it, you should be making sauerkraut. And I was telling me, you should be making it. I should show you how to make it. Go home and chop it and make it. And then Provisions called me. And they said, we heard that you make raw fermented sauerkraut, and we would like to carry it.
All right. Put
And
you
that
in
is
business.
by popular demand.
Yeah.
I've done it.
An array of products.
An array,
delicious
yeah.
and wonderful products from Hampton Brine.
There is more, but that's what I have.
And do you, is your kitchen at Southampton College? Or do
No,
you do
my
it at your own
It's
kitchen?
also no, of course not.
Okay,
It's an
'cause
incubator.
It's a big company now.
Well, it's still a small company, but I have to have a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So it is also at Stony Brook Incubator, but it is in Calverton.
You have to go all the way to Calverton? Yes.
It's okay, it's worth it.
Okay. Stony Brook
Shopping is
Incubator.
also very good in Riverhead. So
Oh, that's-
we combine.
Going tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we're going to have dueling cabbages.
We have a deal in cabbages.
Yeah,
But I think maybe first, should we
What?
talk a little bit about probiotics at all?
Sure. What do you think started all this interest in probiotics?
Yeah, because it seems like it's a fad. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, and everybody about probiotics.
Everybody's talking about gut health.
Gut health. So what happened was that about 12 years ago, the scientists learned how to sequence the bacteria DNA. Because before that, they could only study bacteria that grows in a petri dish. And not all of the bacteria grows in a petri dish. Actually, less than 1% of all bacteria grows in a petri dish.
And it takes them like 8 weeks to grow it.
Whatever it takes.
Crazy.
But most of them don't. So when they learned how to do that, they were able to study different groups of bacteria more. They were able to identify them, separate them, and study their behavior and what they do for human health. And everybody got super excited and started studying it all and putting all the data in one database. It was called the Human Microbiome Project. Very famous project. So people who were studying indigenous tribes somewhere in Brazil that they had no commercial products, and people who were studying the American gut syndrome for people who were eating a lot of processed food, and all started putting their information into one data bank. And then they looked at them and they were amazed. Because all of a sudden, everything that we learned from ancient times, that everything comes from the gut, now we have a scientific confirmation that, yes, Everything comes from the gut. It turns out that in your intestines, we all carry up to 4 pounds of bacteria. It is 10 times more of bacteria than cells in your body. So there is 10 times more of them than there is of you.
We are actually walking bacteria. There's trillions and trillions of germs in our body.
Yeah.
You got to learn to live with
And
them,
the
folks.
more you have, the more variety you
Yeah.
have, the healthier you are.
Better your immune system. Yeah.
The immune system gets much stronger when you eat fermented foods. It's one of the main health benefits of fermented foods.
Probiotics so important. Yeah.
Because in sauerkraut, there could be up to 900 different strains of microbes, not all of them bacteria, but viruses and spores and enzymes and all kinds of microorganisms. So when you eat some of that every day, your body reacts by building antibodies to a lot of them, and that's how you boost your immune system all the time.
Wow. Wow. Very good.
Yeah.
So in Russia, when growing up, you had sauerkraut like on the side of like probably not breakfast.
Because
probably.
in the winter we didn't have any vegetables, so we ate very few. We had potatoes, carrots, maybe, but didn't see anything green from like October to May.
Yeah.
So that was.
Wasn't there like a famous pirate or explorer that?
That was Captain Cook. Captain Cook was the first captain who didn't have scurvy on his boats.
Because they had barrels of sauerkraut.
It was all in the log. He had 60 barrels of sauerkraut. And so that I tell that story when people ask me about the shelf life of my sauerkraut, because the journey was 23 months.
Wow.
And it
2
was
years.
not refrigerated.
So it doesn't go bad.
It really doesn't go bad because the acidity is low enough. So only good bacteria survive. No other bacteria survive. That's a trick.
And they always preserved food with salt, right? Since the beginning of time.
Salt is salt, but acidity is acidity because you also preserve food with vinegar.
True.
Because vinegar kills all sort of pathogenic bad bacteria. And the acidity of this is pretty much like vinegar. Only it's not vinegar because live bacteria in it. This is lactic acid. So the bacteria, the lactobacilli, right, the probiotic bacteria, they digest the sugars in the cabbages and other vegetables. And as they digest them, they release lactic acid. So the ferment becomes more and more and more sour.
Wow.
And then it becomes so sour that it doesn't go bad.
Wow. And it tastes delicious.
It tastes fantastic.
So my daughter and I made one after I saw you at Provisions. I bought a cabbage.
All right.
And we made it. And you got a huge cabbage in that jar. And there we were, like stuffing this cabbage. We got about 3/4 of the cabbage in the jar.
All right.
And then it was sitting there for about a week, and I left and went to India, and I said, let it sit another couple of days, because you said at least 10 days, right?
Yeah.
But the longer the better.
Yeah.
And when I came home, the jar was empty. They ate it all. 3.5 weeks. They ate it all, the two of them. They loved it.
Oh, I see.
They
so
loved
it
it.
was good.
They loved it. So
then
here I
I'll have
am.
to make it on.
That's why I said dueling
Shall we
cabbages,
do it?
because I'm gonna.
No, right?
I might do it today too.
Let me have the bigger one, so
should we
it'll be
check?
easier for you to stuff it.
Should we check my cabbage and see if it's living or forget
It's
about
fine.
it?
It's
You
fine.
think it's fine?
I think it looks absolutely fine.
All right.
But it's big, you know. This one is a little small.
Okay.
So this is what I do. First, I cut off the end like that.
Okay. And save it for the deer outside.
And then for the deer, sometimes we use it to put on top, you know.
Oh,
as a
even
weight.
the end. Oh,
And then
okay.
you peel off some leaves.
The big leaves you peel off.
Yeah.
Because the big leaves.
We
Go
also
on
use,
top.
we use them on
You
top.
save them.
You will save them. I'm glad that you remember some things from your
I
lesson.
remember everything. And it was a really fun night. Your workshops are so entertaining because you have such great stories.
I have a lot of stories. Life is long.
So what's better to do, to take fermented foods or supplements or both or just fermented foods? What do you think?
I think you should just eat fermented foods.
Really?
Because with the supplements, they have maybe 3 to 5 to 7 different strains of bacteria, right? They have gazillions of units. It's called CFU. But there is no research on how many units a human being needs.
Right.
There's no research on it. So the idea is in America that if something works, then 10 times something should work 10
better?
times better.
Right.
Right?
But
At least.
meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
your pea gets yellower and
your
yellower.
pea gets yellow. So this is it has those strains that your probiotic pill will have, all of those, plus tons and tons of others. And those micro strains work as delivery agent. They actually deliver, so they make that product much more bioavailable because your body knows exactly what to do with it because it comes with everything it's supposed to come. It comes not just with those big groups of probiotics, but with all those little things that are supposed to be there. A lot of those bacteria are local. Think about that.
Yeah.
So you also sort of adapt your body to whatever pathogens can be.
Local.
Yeah,
Right.
that doesn't get much
Right.
more local than this because here it is. There's bacteria on this cabbage, there's bacteria on this knife, right? There's bacteria on the walls of that jar, right? The bad ones will all die out, but the ones that are not so bad, they'll keep living. And if you know.
And so, do you have to eat this every day to maintain? Oh, so I go.
That's all right. You do it any way you want. Yes, you have to do it every day. Because it doesn't work like you eat it once and then your bacteria implant in your intestines. Then it would have been enough to just eat it once.
Right.
But it doesn't work. They don't implant. They sort of serve like food for the bacteria that already are in your intestines.
Okay.
And also eating it every day boosts your immune system literally every day.
So you really need to eat it every day.
I
to
would,
keep
yeah. It doesn't have to be a lot, but a little bit is a great idea to have some fermented food every day.
So will you explain once again what fermentation actually is?
The fermentation is the process in which bacteria digest the sugars and turn it into something else.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we'll ferment. The examples that we all know and love is wine and alcohol.
Okay.
It's fermented, right? All sorts of.
Okay.
And you know how they say there can be a potato vodka, there can be a grain vodka, there can be, right? You heard about that. So they all have sugars.
Right.
And they ferment and they become alcohol. But when you mix something with the salt, other things happen, right? Because when you make alcohol, it's just sugar. If you put sugar water, it will turn into alcohol. Right. Grape juice will turn into alcohol because it has sugar. When you turn things with salt, when you make a ferment with salt, the first thing that happens is that salt kills some of the bad pathogenic bacteria. Like you said, people preserve food with salt.
Right.
And they preserve, how does salt preserve food? By killing some bad bacteria, right? So they don't like it. So then the bacteria that don't mind salt and they don't get killed off,
they get healthier.
They straighten out, and then there's nothing to hold them back, and they go in
fly
for
right.
it. And they start really multiplying. Remember how we make sauerkraut first couple of days nothing happens because the salt is killing the bad guys.
Right.
And then it starts bubbling like crazy, remember?
Yeah.
And it bubbles and it spills out.
It was bubbling before I left.
Yeah.
A little smell. Little smell, but not much.
Well, yeah, cabbage not, but I did Brussels sprouts the other day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it was not good.
So how
Brussels
do they
sprouts,
taste?
I don't know. I
not
actually
done
made
yet?
it. No, I think I'm going to wait another year. Because, with ferments, like with the new ferment, it stinks. Like new wine smells. New cheese, when milk, ferments, it stinks. After a while, the longer you keep the wine, the better it smells.
Yeah.
Same exact thing with sauerkraut. There are some sauerkraut crazies, even crazier than me, that don't eat it until it's a year old.
Huh.
Okay.
So you could actually make a
hold
bunch.
on. Don't do all of it because we're going to mix in the apple in it too. Because I'm going to make it with apple today.
Okay. Ooh, when I came to see you at the tennis club, I guess, you grated an apple and a pear together.
Yeah.
And tossed it up, and it tasted like the best apple pie I've ever had.
That's true. It's
and you didn't add any sugar?
Nothing.
You didn't add
It's
anything.
the best diet trick in the world.
It was amazing.
Because
blew my mind.
I know. Just a diet trick.
And it took 2 seconds. Took 2 seconds to do.
2 seconds. And now it's going to take even less because I'm using the big grater.
Oh. The big boy grater.
I could have sliced it. There, you can peel it.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay.
Oops.
Putting me to work here.
Yeah, it's for you.
That's good. Yes.
You're going to make your
going
own.
home with a jar of
I'll do your own with apples.
Yeah.
it gives the apples, make it different. It'll bubble more. It's my latest thing. I make my crowd with that for me.
Yeah,
And
and
maybe
you said
I think I'll do it on the farmer's market this summer. I'm going to make
But it's
sauerkraut
not
with
actually
fruit.
for the taste, is it? Or does it make it taste different?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Is it sweeter?
A little sweeter and so good. I love it. I'm going to make sauerkraut for the market this summer. I'm going to make some with plums because I have a woman who works for me. I'm also going to put a little jalapeno in it. And because I didn't bring gloves, I'm only going to slice the top of it so I don't have to touch anything much.
You know there's gloves. Do you want gloves?
No, it's fine.
There's gloves in this drawer.
It is fine. It's fine. I'm living dangerously.
Okay. Oh, God.
But I'm not going to put a lot of
the
seeds
first
in
time
it.
I made homemade salsa a million years ago, I was very careful not to put my hands on my face or touch my eyes. And then I went like this on my nose.
And that's it.
Oh, forget about it.
Yeah, that's
I was
bad.
in pain for hours.
All right, I'm sticking at the back then. So there is a woman who works for the company, and she is from Ukraine, from Kuban region. And she said, oh, yeah, we make it with all kind of fruit. And she brought sauerkraut, because everybody makes their own, you know. So
Well,
she
what
made the one made
Yeah.
with plums. Plums,
Plums.
who would have thunk? It was fantastic. So I'm making some with plums for the farmer's market this
And I
time.
wonder if that makes you go to the bathroom more because you know
Nah.
prunes are
Nah.
the thing.
It just gets all pink because that color in plums, like in the skins and
Oh,
all,
yeah.
it bleeds, it becomes all pink and gorgeous. All right, so we're almost done chopping. I'm getting bored.
Well,
You getting bored chopping?
My apple, no. my knife is not as good as yours. I have a killer knife at home that I was afraid to bring.
What?
No, I don't know. I always manage. I nick myself on this part of it mostly.
So
It's
I am
such
just
a sharp
stuffing
knife.
it in any way. I'm cutting it sort of not as thin as you see sauerkraut being cut in, like when you buy it. Those like limp sort of shreds like that.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the texture because it's limp and I like the crunch. And another thing is that I found that it literally takes bacteria longer to eat through the vegetables that are cut thick. So they like literally stay alive longer. So everything is cut by hand, all my products, and it's cut thick. So you can be sure there's plenty of live bugs in it.
Okay. Well, time flies when you're having fun. We have 9 minutes to finish this
That's it?
science project.
We should be able to do
Yeah,
that.
we'll be done.
Just stuff it in.
So
Make a mess.
Are there different stages to fermentation?
Well, yeah, that I just told you. So first, the salt will kill the pathogens.
Okay.
Then the first wave of ferment is going to, that causes that much, all this bubbling, because they call it Conostock, and it's the first wave of probiotic bacteria that comes up, and there's tons of them, tons and tons, and that's why it's so active. It swells up, it bubbles. Remember?
Yeah.
They produce so much gas, of gassing. So and then it dies down because they do what they have to do. They eat what they digest, their kind of sugars, and then they die down, and the liquid in it will become sort of syrupy at that point, which is also cool, kind of. And then the other waves of bacteria start coming in and eating sort of the dead bodies, pretty much. Whatever, because the first wave pre-digests the vegetables for the second waves and the one after. They kind of one after the other overlapping. The waves of bacteria come in.
Nature is amazing.
So cool. So much fun. It also changes the taste of food. The way we're making it, by the way, you can make any vegetables. Stuff your vegetables into the jar. I'm done doing it already.
Okay,
See, we got to
I
the
can't
end.
fit anymore anyway.
Well, because you have to like go and you sort of like do this. You go like around somehow. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It'll still be fine. So you buy a bigger jar next
Buy
time.
a bigger jar.
Oh, you have
That's
two
what
jars.
we determined the
That's
first
it.
time.
That's it. Oh, yeah, I told you that first time?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because I mean they ate it pretty quickly.
Yeah. A bucket.
Okay. Now.
All right, we're done there,
Okay.
right?
So now,
now what we're going to do, we are going to put,
salt.
yeah, we're
So
going to
should
put
I
a
use the
tablespoon.
Himalayan or just
You
regular
can use whatever
sea
you
salt?
want, either one. The sea salt, Himalayan salt, the trick, no additives of any kind.
No
It has to be
oxidized
just,
salt.
Huh?
No oxidized.
iodized. No iodine, no, because in salt comes with like aluminum sulfate or something. None of this, just
None of
salt, okay? So we're going to put 1 tablespoon, just like that. I'm not even going to make
Only
the
1
brine.
tablespoon
You,
for that whole jar?
yeah. Well, you go like that. You go pour it out, okay?
Mhm.
And then we're going to cover it. Maybe put a little bit of water,
Oh, come
just
on.
to get it going in there. Well, you can do this, look.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
put it in
I
there
did. I did.
never mind.
Little fell out.
And then we'll put a little bit of
Add it
water
more.
too to let it just so the salt starts going down.
Okay.
Should we put a little more? Let's put
A
a
little
little
more water.
Oh, yeah, let's put a little more salt.
No, I added a little
You
more.
think fine? There.
Yeah, right. We like salt.
Yeah.
Salt is good. Okay.
So it,
So we filled all these things with water.
hold on. Why don't we tuck stuff? No, hold on. Because first we're going to tuck stuff in. Remember?
Yep.
We take those leaves
Yep.
and we put them. We start stuffing them on top.
So the leaves we pulled off in the beginning. Now we're
Yeah,
covering.
we're covering
because
the
in the
stuff
beginning
in.
you have to take these leaves off because they get a
Yeah.
little weird looking.
And now we're stuffing them on top because everything should be submerged. That's the main idea, that everything should be covered with water.
So you
And
have
so
to-
if something happens, if something will get compromised in the ferment, it's going to be on top. So then we have those leaves. They
Right.
might get a little funky if the water level, the brine level goes down.
Right.
But then this is all going to be still fine. So you just take those off at the end.
Well, I didn't get jalapeno in mine. That's okay.
That's
Next
okay.
time I have a jalapeno at home, I can open
Well,
it.
you can
and
do
add it.
this. You can buy a big
True.
jar, and I'll give you those vegetables, and you knock yourself out, make more. Your children will be happy.
I have jalapeno at home. My children, Michael and Jennifer.
Michael and
The
Jennifer
old-
will be happy.
The big child and the,
big
little
child, yeah. And now we're going to pour the water to the top. Okay?
Yep.
So all that salt is going to get dissolved in there. You can make mixed brine and pour it in, but why? Because reverse osmosis. Because osmosis, not even reverse, it's still going to, salt is going to dissolve anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so there it is, to the top, all right?
All right.
So when I come home, I'm going to take a little jar like this,
Yeah.
or a glass. I
Yeah.
have that jar, and I gave you when you came to the workshop. Didn't
Oh,
you?
no.
No,
No, 'cause
never
I left
mind.
a little
Okay,
early.
so did you take a glass? then?
Okay.
Something that fits in this.
Oh, yeah. You said to weight it down.
Exactly, because we're going
I
to need
filled
to
the
weight it
glass
down.
with stones.
We can put stones. You can just put water in it.
It wasn't heavy
And
enough
then you
somehow.
put it like that, okay?
Yeah.
And that is going to be your weight. And you have to, and then you're going to put it also in a little bowl, because in the beginning
it
it's going
bubbles
to
over a little.
bubbles over like crazy, and you want to catch that, all right?
Right.
And this is what it is. If the water level comes down, do not add any liquid. Push this, add more weight.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Push it down so the water, because
Stays-
things are going to get softer, so they'll be easier to push them down. So when you in the like the brine's going to spill out and burn out of it a little bit. So if you see the water level come down, just press on it, right? And now it's gone. So done. Okay, that's
Done.
how hard
So that's
it was.
how you make
And-
sauerkraut.
And it took that long only because we were talking.
Right. And
Because
having
if
fun.
we were just chopping,
And having
it
fun.
would have been taking a lot
She did
less
it in 2
time.
seconds the night of the presentation.
Exactly. We can time
So
it.
your people love your products. So what is your most popular seller?
I
Is
think
there
so
one?
this one. It's probably this kraut and this kvass. This is a classic, that's Russian sauerkraut. It's cabbage and carrot. If you tell to a Russian sauerkraut, that's the image they get in the head.
Okay.
Okay? And
Yeah.
this is,
Is that cabbage juice or?
yeah, this is cabbage, fermented cabbage brine, and this is the juice of this. So this
or
sauerkraut.
Red cabbage?
No, it's green cabbage and beets
Oh,
and
and
jalapeno
beets.
pepper. And this is Georgian recipe from Russian Georgia in the Black Sea.
Beets and jalapeno
So they
pepper.
also have their
That
own.
sounds fabulous.
That is delicious. They cut it in wedges.
They have like giant jars?
They giant, I'm not
Barrels?
barrels probably, but this one is served. They cut it in wedges.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they serve it in wedges?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
you
God.
have a wedge of kraut on your plate.
Wow.
So like
Very
it's a big
cool.
one like this, and you slice it.
So when is your next presentation?
I don't know. I should do one soon, but I'm going to do two. I just spoke with Amy Curvin at the Southampton Arts Center, and
Oh,
I'm
good.
going to do. I think it'll be third Sunday in July and third Sunday in August at 2
Okay.
o'clock in Southampton.
So
Arts
look
Center.
for it. Look for it because number one, you're like so entertaining, and number two, fermented foods are so good for you. Do people have to worry about it being safe for them? It's totally safe
It's totally safe.
because all the germs are gone. All the
Well,
bad
they will
germs.
be gone by
All
the
the bad
time,
germs
but,
are
in a
gone.
couple of weeks when it gets
Yeah.
sour. You can, if you worry, you can get the acidity meter,
Yeah,
with a
but-
pH meter.
But it's
to do-
fine, and you can use it as a condiment for any meal, right? Incorporate it
Yeah,
into.
it makes everything taste good.
You have
And
to
even
incorporate it into your diet.
you can in Russia we put it like ginger, pickled ginger with sushi. You put it on the side of
Right.
it, and just about that
Right.
much. You don't really need unless you love it, but like a lot
Yeah.
of people do, because you get this acidic taste and
Yeah.
the crunch. It sort of hits the spot. One lady at the farmer's market told me it hit the spot I didn't know I had.
All right.
That was really
Excellent.
cute.
And on that note, we will say goodbye and thank you for joining us. And look for Hampton Brine. And Nadia's information is on the screen. And thank you for joining the ladies' room today. And we hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Breathe in. Breathe in. Oh, couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop, no, couldn't stop.